Hey everybody, welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, Kick-Ass Reverend Gaming Podcast from RAF Medias. I'm one of your hosts, Adam. We're now affiliated on Twitch, so make sure to give us a subscriber, Gumbert. We got today, I have with me Chad, a man turning into a wolf, Michael Ennis.
And, you think wolves can be nice? Like werewolves? You think they have like a soft, cuddly side like dogs do?
Sure.
Maybe, if they're domesticated, perhaps.
Absolutely.
International wolves, definitely not, but domesticated wolves, yes.
No, if you go to another country, you're going to fuck shit up. But if you stay where you're from...
That's why the American Werewolf in Paris is such a terrifying movie.
He's insane. It's crazy. And we also have with us Alex, a boy turning into a man, Cosina.
You're saying I'm not already a man?
Boys becoming men.
Is that what you're
men
saying?
Becoming wolves.
I mean, I guess if this is how I have to live from now on, what is it? What's the question?
Have you had your bar mitzvah yet?
I have not had a bar mitzvah.
Technically, you're not a man in the eyes of Jewish church. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I guess that's the way it's going to be then. This
have
is
you
a
had
very,
your
very
werewolf
giggly.
Bar mitzvah, though?
No, that's true.
I have not had that either. This is a very giggly intro for a podcast that is going to delve into some very not giggly topics, I got to say.
No.
Like, this might be... We have done this podcast on some particularly harrowing, particularly upsetting weeks of the video game industry existing. But this weekend in particular is... There is a lot to process.
But people come to us for the laughs. They come to us to escape.
Through the pain.
They come to us.
Man.
They come to
We're
us.
like Magic Vapor Shop, a video game podcast,
That's right.
you know?
.com. They come to us to pee their pants, to remember why they're wearing pants to begin with.
Oh, God. Why did I agree? Why did I agree to co-host this show with you guys?
You have fun. Twitch.tv/AffleMedia, Sunday evenings at 8:30, where you can put your subscription because we're affiliate.
We are affiliate now.
That's
you
right.
can watch a McDonald's commercial before our stream now. You can see golden french fries along with golden showers. Not on Twitch, though.
Real talk. Real talk. Chances are, if you're listening to our podcast, you probably have Amazon Prime. I'm just going to say it. Statistically, it's probably likely.
It's true.
Go take that Amazon Prime subscription. Use it to subscribe to us for free over on Twitch. We don't get as much money from it as a normal sub, but it is still moolah all the same. So don't I definitely bungled the end of that sentence, but yeah, don't go down.
We got that.
It's perfect. Here's what else. Your mom probably has Amazon Prime. She probably also then has Twitch Prime. She doesn't know what the fuck Twitch is. She'll be like, Mom, I'm going to come over and I'm going to fix your email for you. She didn't even know it was broken, but just tell her you're going to fix her email and you need her Amazon password to do it. And subscribe to us via Twitch Prime without her knowing, and then tell her your email's fixed. And she's like, oh, thank God, it works so much better now.
I am trying to keep things stapled down on this podcast and keep things grounded, but it's like your laughter and giggliness is like infecting me and I can't speak straight. I don't know what is going on.
Hate to see it. YouTube podcast services Tuesday at 9 in the morning. Upcoming on today's show, more giggles, because I put that in the wrong spot. Gotham Knights details, Bayonetta voice actor acting out. Acting? Overwatch 2 numbers. It's good stuff. But first up, like Alex said, maybe things aren't all happy in the Yellow Brick Road land. They killed it again. From Adam Bankhurst at IGN.com. As reported by Deadline, like 2 hours ago, whenever we're recording this, Comcast Spectator Chairman and CEO Dave Scott, that's a name if I ever heard one, penned a letter to all employees saying G4 is being discontinued immediately. This is all from Mr. Scott's press release now. Team, as you know, G4 was reintroduced last year to tap into the popularity of gaming. We invested to create the new G4 as an online and TV destination for fans to be entertained, to be inspired, and connect with gaming content. Over the past several months, we worked hard to generate that interest in G4, but viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we've made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operation effective immediately. I know this is disappointing news, and I'm disappointed too. Okay. I want to thank you and everyone on the G4 team for the hard work and commitment to the network. Our human resources team is reaching out to you to provide you with support, discuss other opportunities that may be available, and answer any questions you may have. So that's old boy is just like, bullshit. Here's talk speak about why everyone's getting fired. Just a little extra onto the story after that. This news appears to have come as a surprise, as G4 host Gerard the Completionist shared a tweet about the G4 shutdown from Warrior 64 is how he found out he lost his job. Gerard wasn't the only one, as Alex Golden Boy Mendez revealed he was in active negotiations for his new contract with G4. So nobody who worked there knew about it. I remember this being a story a little bit ago where like part of the team got let go or laid off. I don't know, like a month or so ago. And now it's all gone. There you go, guy who owns Comcast. Shut down the thing that you like.
Like, I don't know how much you guys know about this current situation. I know very little about this. Is this a Batwoman situation where publicly they said, the movie wasn't very good, it wasn't test screening well, when in reality, the actual reason why they shelved that movie was because of like weird economic tax reasons? Like he says here in the article, it wasn't bringing in the viewership numbers, but is that really the reason why this was shuttered? Because I have very little faith when a big head honcho person like this Scott guy comes out and says something like that nowadays.
You know what? Because this big chairman says it, I believe it more. Where straight up, he was like, he took over, because I think that they changed up top. People moved around in like major leadership positions, and he looked at it, it's like, yo, that ain't enough money. Goodbye. Like companies do this all the time, where they'll come through. I believe him when he's like, yo, it's not making enough money. We had to discontinue it immediately, because they looked at it and like, yeah, we don't make enough money from this. Get rid of it. And it sucks because it's like people we like and people we know, and it's about video games. But Comcast sat down and was like, that's not worth it. That's not making us enough money. Get rid of everything that doesn't make us enough money. I don't believe that there's any ulterior motive except for money. If I had to guess. I don't know.
Right, but that was, I mean, was that not exactly the same reason why Batwoman was shuttered as well?
That was for a tax write-off. But yes, also money. They were like, it's bad, but also it's bad, and if we just get rid of it, we can get a tax write-off. A little bit of both.
Okay, yeah. I see what you're driving at now. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, it's still like, I think we're both in agreement that this is real shitty, but I get your point, which is that at least this guy is being forthcoming in exactly why he's shutting it down. But
yeah, it's all very bad, but it's they don't care. They were like, we don't want to cultivate it and make it into something good. We just want to cut a thing that we don't think is worth it. Like, I don't even think he was probably the dude who was a part of bringing G4 back, because if he was, he would care and put more time into it. He's just some dude who's like, I make decisions and I see numbers on a sheet, and that number's not worth it, if I had to guess.
I'm going to play the ignorant audience member. There are probably people in our community who maybe don't follow gaming as closely and maybe didn't know that G4 was back. Much like myself, which I guess I didn't realize it was back. I'm going to ask a question as if I were that person. I mean, obviously I knew it was back, right? How was it resurrected? There are a couple words in here that make me think like it was a TV centric thing, like cable television type thing, where it says commitment to the network, our online and TV destination for fans. My question is, did they bring it back in a like archaic dinosaur way, where basically they knew they were bringing it back into a dead medium where people weren't going to watch it anyway? Like, were they setting it up to fail to begin with, or was it more of an online focused thing like IGN, kind of funny, that kind of stuff?
I have a basic information, but if Alex knows more, you can go ahead and take it, or I can just go with the basic stuff that I read.
I know basically nothing.
Okay, so what it did, Comcast did want to put it back. So right here, this is part of the story that I didn't put it. G4 officially relaunched on November 16th, 2021, so not even a year, and had a plan to not only launch on the channel lineups of Fios, Cox, and Xfinity TV, but also stream on Philo and collaborate with Twitch on a multi-year promotional and commercial partnership through G4's official Twitch. So it was going to be on TV and on Twitch at the same time. That was like the new, they're like, hey, we can't just be a TV channel. Let's kind of go on Twitch and YouTube and everything. But it was supposed to be on TV as well as live streaming, was the original plan when it launched. Again, this is the thing. It sucks, again, that the part that bothers me is people who lose their job and don't know that they're losing their job. They're like, oh, yeah.
We just saw that 2 weeks ago with Stadia. Like, all these people who were like, we were planning features for Stadia and working with developers on long-term plans, and then suddenly we found out via a tweet.
It's like, my game was supposed to come out next week on Stadia, and I just found out today that Stadia is done for. So yeah, to me, that's the thing that bothers me the most, obviously, is people losing their job and not having an idea about it. But it was, honestly, I never watched it. I mean, it is what it is. It was cool that the idea, but they brought it back, but I don't know. I guess it didn't. Just the fact that I knew it was a thing and never watched it. Maybe that's part of the problem. Enough people weren't engaging with it, and they were done with it. But they had a great cast, like Xavier Woods, who's a professional wrestler, up, down, down, very, very successful geek wrestler guy, was part of it. Again, Alex Mendez was on. He's good buddies with The Rock. He's on a Rock show. So like I knew the people involved in it.
I mean, even Gerard the Completionist was like apparently a G4 employee. I had no idea. I mean, I'm familiar with Gerard the Completionist. I've watched him with stuff, but I had no idea he was a G4 person.
So I don't know who it's on. I guess it's on my fault for not watching it. But yeah, I mean, it's a thing I never engaged with. It was cool that it was back. I was like, awesome, cool.
At
G4,
the very
that's a
least,
thing.
like I did not really engage with it all that much either. But like based on like everything I've seen and read about G4 back when it was briefly alive again, it seems like they didn't take anything for granted. It seems like everyone involved is like, hey, if this is, our last year of making G4 content, let's, go out with as much of a bang as possible and kind of pull all the stops. It didn't feel like they were like slowly revving up to, eventual bigger and better seasons of the G4 revival. It seems like they were kind of trying to do as cool stuff as they could within that span of that 1 year, regardless of whether that 1 year ended in continuation or cancellation. And it turned out to be the latter. But it seems like they really kind of committed to it while it was still around. And it's too bad that unfortunately they're not going to be able to commit any longer.
Yeah, you just wish like corporate people would like let things breathe and give it a chance to work, Yeah. I understand that's not how corporate works, but like so many more things could have a chance to work if people gave it time, I feel. But it's not my money, so
I'm sure what's his face Dave Scott at Comcast I'm sure he had unrealistic expectations, or somebody 5 people down from him probably was in charge of having the unrealistic expectations and reporting back up to him about like what gaming like news and content and all that kind of stuff might look like on a television channel or on Twitch. And he's like, well, that doesn't do as much money as football does. Why do we still support that? Or that doesn't do as much money as whatever fucking news station that we're doing. Why are we still investing in that? It's like, well, you kind of went into this industry. I'm assuming they went back into this industry with unrealistic expectations about viewership and numbers and the kind of money you can make from this kind of thing right now. It is getting bigger. It is getting, obviously, esports and sponsorships and all these things are getting bigger and bigger every single year, but it still doesn't compare to most mainstream television media.
Yep. You had mentioned before with the HBO stuff. I know they just let go a lot of big part of that. Discovery let go a lot of was it the Warner people? I don't remember, but it was like, oh yeah, like a lot of the teams who were making stuff at those companies got let go because Discovery's like, let's just do the things that make us money. So I mean, it's another one of those. It sucks, but here we are.
It sucks. And, it's funny that we bring up the kind of Warner Brothers CEO Discovery stuff. So David Zaslav, who's the president and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery now, he previously used to be the CEO of whatever company was in charge of the kind of internet gaming show that Scott Bromley, who like formerly was of the IGN, currently does the podcast The Comedy Button, was a part of. And when he was making all those big cuts about a month ago, Scott Bromley on Twitter was like, like one time David Zaslav came into our studio, which again makes like internet video game content, and talked for an hour about opening up a Cake Boss restaurant in New York and Cake Boss utensils and Cake Boss souvenirs and shit. And it's like, these are the kinds of people that are running these companies. These are the kinds of people that are just so completely clueless and out to lunch and just completely out of touch with the kind of real kind of human beings and the content that they make at these kind of smaller yet passionate little outlets. And it sucks.
It does. Cake Boss. What a fucking... I remember Scott telling that story. Fucking wild.
Yeah, the Cake Boss, the fucking... When he was getting arrested for drunk driving, he's like, you can't arrest me. I'm the fucking Cake Boss.
I'm Cake Boss, baby.
Second, to wrap up my thoughts on this thing, like this is just a trend with Comcast and excellent video game content. Like we've seen... maybe once, sometimes twice a month, Comcast will shut down our internet in the middle of this wildly successful podcast. Mm-hmm. But now that we are a Twitch affiliate and we can make money off of it, they're probably going to be like, oh, you know what? We're going to shut down your internet less often now. So
just once in a while.
Exactly, yeah.
Love to see it. Fuck Comcast. I guess Chad says it every week. We'll continue to say it here. But we're going to move on to something that should be more fun. No, this top one right here by Alex is not fun at all. I don't like that. But anyways, we're gonna move on to playtime.
Everyone knows Canadian Thanksgiving is a very somber, mournful holiday.
Don't like it. But yeah, Alex, we'll start with you because I brought it up. What's going on with this? What'd you do the last week? I don't like this.
Oh,
at all.
man.
Just pointing it out to you.
There's a holiday that happens one time a year in a single year within the year that one exists within Canada. That holiday is called Canadian Thanksgiving. Let me tell you, we had ourselves just one hell of a feast. We had homemade cranberry sauce made from scratch. We had turkey. We had roast vegetables. We had leek and mushroom stuffing. We had apple pie, homemade as well, except for the crust, which we bought from the store and were frozen. We had Oreo-flavored Southern biscuits with gravy. It was a smorgasbord of just culinary gastronomical delights, the likes of which Canadians the world over would all appreciate, and which we, sitting in our cottage dining room, very much did appreciate this past weekend. It was truly a special occasion, the likes of which I'd imagine that the two of you, like, just truly deep down in the bottoms of your hearts, truly love as much as I did love it.
You know what I think fascinates me most and makes me like have the warm, heartwarming feelings? The fact that, like, we truly are all the same deep down inside, because
What?
the Native Canadians and the Native Americans both somehow decided we're going to share with the white man cranberries and turkey and Oreo biscuits. Like, it's the same food no matter where you are. That's Thanksgiving, because the same native people to that area all discovered Oreo biscuits and shared that with the white man.
Yeah. Didn't you know? Oreo's been around since the year 613.
Yeah.
Real
Remember in
truth.
Prey, the Predator was after some Oreo biscuits.
What's the Alex?
That's right.
I'm an ignorant American, and
Yes.
I know the manufactured story that they taught me in preschool about the Indians and the Pilgrims. What's the story behind Canadian Thanksgiving? Like, what are y'all giving thanks for? What is that about?
I don't know. I'm sorry, but it's not something that I've ever really kind of actively looked up. But I'd have to imagine it's probably very similar to your holiday. I would not be surprised to learn if it's like a Parasite situation where we just took the basic concept of your holiday and just sort of appropriated it for our own.
Then why do you do it? Yeah, right. Why do you do it a month before? So American Thanksgiving, if you don't know, Alex, is specifically what they teach you. It's that the Pilgrims came to America. They had a really hard winter, and the Native Americans helped them out.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm more familiar with your origin of your Thanksgiving than I am of Canadian Thanksgiving, to be honest.
So no one helped the Canadians out, huh?
No one helped the Canadians. We got, as people coming into America, we got corn and turkey and Oreo biscuits, and we gave them smallpox blankets.
Yeah.
And then up in Canada, they're just like, we're already here, but we do like corn, and there's no white man coming to settle here and take us out, and no one has smallpox blankets. So why don't we just all get together and eat corn and biscuits?
Mm-hmm.
I just Googled the origin of Canadian Thanksgiving. That's what it says.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. Well, what I'm reading is it seems like it's actually taken more from like a European tradition than like a American tradition. That's what I'm reading here. Anyways, yeah, great, fantastic time. I hope that every single year when Canadian Thanksgiving comes around, we talk about it, because it was truly the bee's knees, truly a feast to be beholded, and I will forever cherish it within my heart.
My final Canadian Thanksgiving question. Is it on a set date every year, or is it on a stupid thing like ours, where it's like every fourth Thursday in November?
It is on a stupid thing like yours.
Okay. How stupid is Easter, too? Like, why are our stupid Christian holidays always like, it could be March 1st or it could be April 2027?
Yeah,
Who
just
knows
the
when
first
Easter
Sunday
is
of
this
April,
year?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Is
say,
it? No, it's not.
Thanksgiving.
Sometimes it's in March, isn't it? It's not always the first Sunday in
No,
April.
I think it's supposed to be the first Sunday in April.
No.
I believe. You can look it up.
When is Easter in America?
I will say
Jesus.
Thanksgiving, least favorite holiday of all of them. Don't like turkey. Not a
Really?
fan. No, a lot of brown foods in Thanksgiving. Not
Yeah.
a fan
Yeah.
of beige and brown foods. Yeah.
So,
I like
real
the days
talk.
off, but whatever.
One of the main differences between Canadian Thanksgiving and American Thanksgiving is Canadian Thanksgiving, not really like a gift-giving time, It like genuinely surprised me to learn for the first time relatively recently that like, yeah, y'all give a lot of gifts around American Thanksgiving, and that is not Canadian Thanksgiving at all.
Who told you
Canadian
that?
Thanksgiving is
Yeah, no one's
basically
ever
just
given-
food.
The only gift I've ever gotten on Thanksgiving was the gift of eating turkey. I don't even like it.
So it's
Don't
not
get
like this is not like a universal thing, because like don't all video game publishers put out their video games by
Black
Thanksgiving?
Friday.
Because
Black Friday.
Is the day after the American Thanksgiving, so that's the biggest shopping day. So that's probably where you're getting that. The biggest shopping day in America is the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because everyone's
normally
already off
you
work
shop
and they're just
for
like,
Christmas.
Christmas
The
is
day
coming
after
up. We got to buy everything. So everyone's like, we want to make sure we have our game out by the time people are freaking rabid and ready to spend
Going
their
to the
money.
store is crazy.
I
Here's
guess
the
I'll have to
thing.
do my research, but yeah, it confuses me in more ways than one.
Here's
We love to
the
spend money
official
today,
word on Easter. Easter always falls on the
Here we
first
go.
Sunday after the Paschal full moon, or Paschal, I don't know how to pronounce it. The first full moon after the vernal equinox, making the earliest day available is March 22nd, and the latest day is April 25th.
Oh, okay. So it's about the moons and the solar cycle.
Yeah, everyone knows the death of Jesus Christ was all based on the moon and not the
Yeah.
calendar.
Yep. He died on a certain moon, not on a certain day. That's how it works. Anyways, Inscription.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've been playing Inscription as well. You know, Inscription, it kind of has a bit of a Thanksgiving-y theme to it when you think about it. It's about you hanging out in a old rustic cabin. There's a lot of like foresty Native American animals that you're hanging out with. I mean, I feel like if we had to make a list of like the top 10 Thanksgiving games, it would at least be in contention there, maybe an honorable mention.
Yeah, and I feel
yeah,
like
this game's-
also like the American Thanksgiving cliche is like, oh God, I gotta spend a whole day with my dysfunctional family. Mwah! And so like that fits with Inscription. Bunch of yahoos
For sure.
dysfunctional that you don't want to hang out with necessarily.
I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I'm really enjoying its melding of different genres and twists. I'm really fascinated to see where it's going. It's a little bit longer than I was anticipating it to be. We'll see. I had a little bit of difficulty getting past some of the bosses during the first segment of the game. I'm trying to keep things vague. When I eventually beat the game, we'll just go full bore into spoilers. But yeah, I had a little bit of difficulty getting past some of those bosses. Now that I'm past them, I am making progress, but it seems like, based on what I've been reading up online, that I have still some ways to go. Having a lot of fun with it, though. I'm definitely looking forward to listening to your guys' spoiler cast when I get to the end of it, because this game has been quite fun so far.
Glad to see you're enjoying it. I will say, the game wants you to cheat. So don't feel bad and find ways to cheat, because the game wants you to, and it's designed for you to do so.
Yep.
So, or cheese, I would say, not cheat, but like cheese. You know, like in that episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, where Yugi like pulls out all the Karibos, and then Kaiba can't get through it, even though that is not how the rules work. That's basically how Inscription wants you to play.
Yeah,
Or like how Picard is it
I
Picard
actually-
who does the Kobayashi
Picard?
Maru test? Who
No.
like cheats that test? Yeah.
No, it's the original Captain Kirk.
No,
yeah.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't win it, but I did, because you cheated. Son of a bitch. But yes. Same, similar thing. Okay, I know this last thing is a corny anime thing, so go ahead and talk about it.
Chainsaw Man, let me tell you, if you showed Chainsaw Man a piece of corn, he'd cut right through that corn, because this man has a chainsaw for a face. Yeah, if you, by any chance, within the past couple of months were watching the anime Demon Slayer and were thinking, man, I kind of like this, but I just wish that this show had a little bit more of a darker edge to it. And, well, I mean, there's not much else to say other than that Chainsaw Man is the answer to this hypothetical question. There's only the one episode out so far, but episode 2 is up and coming real soon, and I recommend that if y'all have any interest in any anime and you have not seen the show so far, please give it a shot, because it's very good.
How do people
Very
watch it? On what service?
You can watch it at the moment on
Comcast.
Crunchyroll.
No.
No, not Comcast.
Netflix.
I mean,
No,
Comcast
JK.
might actually own Crunchyroll. No, I
Crunchyroll,
think
that's
they're
right.
owned by Sony.
Sony. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sony bought them.
Anyways.
Sony bought all of it. I know
Actually,
people were
but
horny
maybe-
for Chainsaw Man. I didn't know anything about it, but on the internet's like, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man.
His face is a chainsaw, right? It's not just like Leatherface
like
in
his
Texas
forehead.
Chainsaw Massacre.
It's like
his
forehead's a chainsaw.
his superpower is that he can grow chainsaws out of anywhere on his body. And so his
Anywhere.
go-to move is
Does he have
chainsaw
control
out
over it?
of
Because that
head,
can be bad.
chainsaw out of... Oh, yeah. Don't worry. He has complete control over it.
I'm waiting for penis chainsaw too, Chad. I'm also waiting for that.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'll
this show goes to some same places. I'm not saying that happens in the show, but I'm saying that it could happen in the show. So you might want to tune in.
Very cool. And is there anything about this last part?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to kind of make mention that I am still continuing to play a bunch of older games here and there. Still collecting all the moons in Super Mario Odyssey. I unlocked the darker side of the moon. Platinum Saints Row on PS4. Pokemon Puzzle League. I beat hard mode in that. Of course, we did Castlevania 1 and 4. Go listen to our Barf episode. Playing a lot of Pokemon Go. I caught a lot of shiny Litwicks yesterday. That's the candle Pokemon. And yeah. Lots of fun with all that stuff, but I am hoping to get caught up on some of the other games that came out earlier this year before Game of the Year discussions, because there's a lot of good games that came out this year.
You're also playing an older Pokemon Platinum game, right? On a certain Twitch channel?
That's right, over on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive.
Dope.
Very cool. Chad, what is all your numbers? Let's see. GW18, that's the one I have. Well, no, I know what it is now. I've just figured it out.
It's
Gears
'cause I
of
spoiled
War
it for you.
2018.
Yeah, it's Gears of War 2018. You're right.
Yeah.
No, I've come through, and I'm holding a promise true. That doesn't make any sense. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm playing God of War 2018 again, like I said I would 6 weeks ago. The new one's coming out in it's like 3 weeks or something, 4 weeks, something like that. So I'm playing through it on easy mode. I have not played it since they updated it with the 60 frames a second, and it looks great. But I am very excited for whatever enhancements come with the PS5. It's weird that haptics don't really. You get so used to the haptics, and then you go back to just regular ass Rumble, and I'm like, oh, this is what I used to think the Leviathan axe felt good with, just regular ass Rumble, or there's a part in this where in a boar you have to hold things with the left trigger and then hold things with the right trigger, and you're supposed to be struggling a little bit, and then she does some magic, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing going on in these triggers. They're little limp soft weens here, and it's I can't wait for God of War 2022 to see what enhancements come with the PS5 version of it. So yeah, playing that
Very soon.
again, just doing it on easy story mode, trying to just mainline the story, not doing any kind of side quests, just to refresh myself on the game.
And Chad, I guess I'll ask you, because
yeah.
I brought this up earlier, I'm bringing this up now. How do you not hate Atreus? Was my question.
Because I see myself in him. I see my dog in him.
Whoa.
Your dog doesn't care, though.
No, my dog doesn't care.
Are you-
Every single time today that I was playing and he said the boy's name out loud, I looked over at my dog, and my dog's just either dead asleep or he's looking at me are you ready to pet me now? I'm like, no. I just wanted to see if you would respond to someone else saying your name. He doesn't. But no, he's a kid.
Oh, he's a bad kid.
He's a kid. He's fine. He's just learning. I'm seeing the world through his eyes.
I hate to say it, Adam, but I am way more on Chad's side. I think Atreus is just, growing up and coming of age in this world and dealing with the trials and tribulations that life throws at you. He's no more or less
Especially-
annoying than any other kids of his age.
And think of it this way. He's not only a kid, he's a homeschooled kid.
Oh, yeah.
I assume, I don't know if you, as a public school kid myself, homeschool kids, they behave differently
They're
than
weird.
most other kids. Yeah, they're the weird kids. And not only is a homeschool kid, but he's a homeschool kid that never got to play soccer or go to church with any other kids. He stayed at home and only at home and did
All
not
at
leave
home.
because he was sick. So,
Here's
this
what I
kid's
will say.
This kid's quirky.
Not to be controversial, but as a dad, right? And being around other kids of that age, I will just say there are some badass white kids that act way worse than my child does, and that's what Atreus acts like. Atreus absolutely would call his mother by her first name in the grocery store and cuss at her. And it just makes me mad because when I grew up, if you didn't say ma'am or sir, you'd get your ass beat. And he's like, whatever, father. I'm like, you would have got smacked. Atreus would be dead already if he was a black kid.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
He would have been dead already.
I called my dad Matt once, and my mom was like, don't you ever do that again.
I will murder you.
Jesus.
And then I called my mom mother once instead of mom, and she was like, you never use that word with me. And I was like, okay.
You said earlier, Chad, that you see yourself in Atreus. Are you saying that your mom is Kratos? Is that the relationship
my mom
going
is
on
the
here?
exact same size, shape, and weight as Kratos. She is 6'12", which is 7 feet for all of you who are on the metric system in total.
Very good.
Yes.
No, again, I understand it, but he's just
Yeah.
a prick. And then he finds out he's a god, and he's an even bigger prick.
I just,
and then,
no,
then all of
I
a sudden he
see
has a
it.
180 turn, and he's a good kid all of a sudden. I'm like, okay.
I
You're a
feel
piece of shit
empathetic
this whole
for
time.
him. He's also, he's dealing with all of this new information all at once. He's seeing the world. He's frustrated because he's sick and he's being held back by his sickness this whole time. And he's like, I don't want to be sick anymore. And then he's, I feel for him.
I'm just saying, if my son talked back to me like that, I would be in jail for murder.
Yeah.
Don't you dare. And I'm not even a god, not even a 6'12" god, and I would be in jail for murder.
6'12".
So he just bothers me. But again, I'm ready for the new game. Now he's a teenager. Let's see how. I really want to see how. Now I understand it because he's a teenager and he's horny, so he's going to be out of control. I get it.
We're just gonna walk in on him, and he's gonna be like throwing the covers over his bed, shutting his computer real
Dad,
fast.
get out of here.
Dad, get out of here.
Cut it out, boy. Anyways.
So I'm playing through that. Also played Super Castlevania 4. We just recorded the Barf episode of that, so we'll put that up sometime this week as well. Again, it's early because I'll be out of town at the end of the month, but look for our thoughts on that. And this last one is for you because I'm really curious about your experience with all of this, especially as a not a ton of hours into this game, but also you've played it before, but you've lapsed for a couple of years and you're coming back to it. Destiny 2 Deep Stone Crypt, which is the Beyond Light raid that we did this whatever day we did it, I don't remember.
Wednesday or Thursday? I don't remember.
Wednesday or Thursday. That you played with us. You now have all the DLC, and you've been playing some Destiny, and you raided with us. You took Joel's spot, and I'm not going to give Joel credit because Joel specifically said, you can feel free to replace me with Adam because I kind of want to watch the Bears game anyway. And I'm like, oh. Okay.
So he wanted me to feel bad.
On Twitter, publicly, he wants you to believe that, he made this really noble gesture in letting Adam come raid with us for the first... No, it was completely I want to watch the Bears lose because I'm a masochist.
Yeah.
So,
okay. But no,
so
we played...
I'm curious about a couple things. One, how was your first raid? What did you find interesting about it? Two, how is it... They've made a lot of improvements to the game for people who are new because there's a ton going on in this game and it's really fucking confusing when you jump into it for the first time. So I'm curious through your eyes, what did this game look like? Was it easy to hop into? Do you understand what's going on systematically as well as plot-wise? So I'm going to open this up to you.
Plot-wise, no. I know
sure
that
not.
there are characters that you hang out with and they fucking are like, this guy is my dad and he's bad and he's gold. I'm like, all right, don't give a shit.
He's bad and he's gold.
Yeah, the big girl who's 18 feet taller or whatever, 6'12". Yeah, sure, whatever. But so lore, I already know. If I wanted to look it up, I would. I don't care. It's fine. Gameplay, I get it. Again, I understand the system. This actually doesn't seem too bad. I understand I understand how Warlock works. That's all that matters to me. I know how Warlock works. I can play Warlock. That's fine.
Thank God you play Warlock too, man. Ugh.
That's great. The one thing that surprised me, I'll say at the top, even though it happened at the end of the raid. First of all, I had a great time with the raid. Really fun. It was fun to get all the people together and do that thing. The fact that Alex Kozinas got name dropped out of nowhere, I was shocked. Alex, you played Destiny too?
I did.
Alex was part of the crew when we first
played
beat
it
our first
with
raid.
you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Alex was there, so two very different raid experiences. We went into this one with Alex, the Leviathan raid. It was the very first raid any of us had ever done. This was before Audrey and Jericho were there. But we went into this raid, and Holden specifically said, you know what? I kind of want to go into this not knowing anything, which is a bad idea for a raid, trying to figure things out, especially when you have no idea. We didn't know what champions were. We didn't know what mods were. We didn't know any of that shit. Mm-hmm. So Alex knows raiding with us from a completely unprepared standpoint, and raiding with us from we've done this 45,000 times. Adam, here's your exact role and how you're going to plug into all of this kind of stuff. So very different raid experiences between the 2.5 or 3 years.
We got through that. Only had one death. It took us about an hour and 20 minutes, I think, total. Fucking great. Alex, you were saying something?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that one raid that we went into completely unprepared for, all things considered. That was a lot of fun. It was a little unfortunate that we weren't able to take on and complete the prestige version of that raid, because that's like the one trophy that you need to get that's like a real pain in the ass to get the platinum for that game. After you get that, like everything else is a cakewalk, but we didn't that one occasion, and now I feel like if I'm ever gonna like man up and eventually get all the trophies to get the Destiny 2 platinum, it's gonna require like an incredible investment of time and effort to pull that off. But never say never. You never know.
Interesting. But no, I had great. Yeah, Chad walked me through it. He's like, all right, here's your role. That's great. That's great because you guys knew it. Because let me be honest with you, if there's a new raid comes out and we're going to figure it out, I will say, I'll sit on the bench. Let me know when you guys figure it out. Because I like the raid was really cool. I really enjoyed the raid, but having to figure it out sounds like a fucking nightmare. Just trying to learn how to fucking platform on that space station fucking almost broke me. The shit was wild. But no, I had a great time. Again, you told me what to do. It was really fun encounters. And yeah, I've just been doing that, and I've been playing more Destiny. I beat Beyond Light, and then I just beat what's the moon one? Shadowfall?
Shadowkeep.
Shadowkeep. I just beat that today too. So I'm just going through all the campaign stuff, and then yeah, having fun doing raids. I'm having a great time.
Nice. Witch Queen campaign's the next one, and that one's probably the best campaign. So
maybe. I don't know. Again, it's like Savathun. Yeah, she's a big lady with wings. Cool. Awesome. Let's move it on. Fucking no. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, the missions. The missions.
I have Leviathan to do. Oh, no, that's part of her, isn't it?
Or Red War, actually. Oh yeah, the Leviathan, the new derelict Leviathan, is part of like the whole Witch Queen thing that last season. But yeah, there's a Red War campaign. Actually, you can't even play Red War anymore. You can play the new light stuff. Mm-hmm. You can play Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, Witch Queen.
Okay.
But yeah, the Witch Queen campaign is fewer missions, but they're like longer. They're like 45 minutes to an hour per mission. Mm-hmm. They're really cool.
Cool. I'll check on that, and then I'll have beaten Destiny. It'll be a good time. And the last thing, right here, he. That is not the pronoun for male. That was Halloween Ends. I watched that movie on Friday. I had a fun time with it. I will say,
don't spoil it.
No,
because the trailer spoiled it, but also maybe they did it. I don't know. Does Halloween end?
Did you think that the Nope trailer spoiled the movie? Because it sure the fuck doesn't. If you actually watch Nope. Halloween Ends, I think, is a cool movie. There's really cool ideas that are kind of borrowed from other movies, and it does feel like an ending, as I will say. I do not expect there to be more Halloween movies with these cast of characters. Take that how you will. But I will say, Halloween 2018 is so good, these sequels don't hold up to it at all. Halloween 2018, I think, is probably the second best Halloween movie, period, out of all of them. Besides the original. It might even be better than the original, honestly, if I went back and watched it. Halloween 2018 is fucking fantastic. It's magnificent. Kills, people did not like, because it's a fucking crazy movie that things don't make sense. This one, I feel like, brings it around more, but I'm like, I wish that, honestly, they could have just done it all in that first movie, and I think it would have been great. But I think this one is good. I think this one is enjoyable.
I think if you've
been watching these movies, watch it.
I have a friend that wants me to go see this with him.
What's on Peacock?
It's on Peacock? Like HBO Max? Like day and date release?
Yeah, fun for the whole family, yeah.
Fun for the whole family? That's wild. Do I have to watch Halloween 2018 before I watch Halloween Ends? Or any of the other Halloweens? The last one I saw was Rob Zombie's, like, origin
none of that
story.
Matters anymore. None of that's canon. The only thing that is canon is John Carpenter's first Halloween movie, obviously the classic, 1978. And then Halloween 2018, and then Kills and Ends. I would say watch Halloween 2018 because it's fucking good.
Okay.
It's real fucking good. And then you can skip Kills and go to Ends, because Kills is fucking wild and it doesn't make any sense. But I think you would need to watch 18 because it's good, and it also sets up what happens in this movie.
Okay. I might have been confused. Is Halloween Ends on Peacock, or is Halloween 2018 on Peacock? Okay.
Halloween Ends is on Peacock. It came out the same day it came out in theaters. And I was like, you know what? For free, I'll watch it.
It's also in Dolby Digital right now in AMC, and I'm an AMC A-lister, so like I'm going to see it in the best way possible. So.
Go for it, bro. Live your life. I'd say watch it. But watch 18 first, because...
Okay.
Very good. All right. That's it for things that we've been playing. Playtime? That's it? Correct? I'm asking a question. Need affirmation?
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
Yes.
Moving on to our quest log. So,
God damn it, Adam, go! Yes, that's the end of
yes,
it.
okay, let me know. Gotham Knights details from Adam Bankhurst at IGN.com. While Gotham Knights campaign will only support single-player or two-player co-op, a new mode called Heroic Assault will launch for free on November 29th, 2022, which will let up to 4 players team up in arena-based challenges. This is a quote from Gotham Knights FAQ. Heroic Assault is an upcoming gameplay mode that is separate from the main story campaign. The standalone mode supports up to 4 players in online co-op and provides a dedicated arena-like environment with specific objectives to complete and enemies to defeat on each floor. There are 34. So basically, the game's only 2-player, but there's a 4-player go up the levels and beat up people mode. So that's cool. They're just giving us more stuff before the game comes out in a couple weeks. Actually, in about a week, I believe.
It's less than it's like 5 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? I
ahead.
had never, until I heard this news, paired with a text message from a friend who was like, "Oh, you're just not excited." Not talking to me, but talking to another friend in our chat. Dallas said to Matt, "You're just not excited for this for this game because you think it's going to be like Avengers." And in my brain, I was like, "What do you mean like Avengers? This is nothing like Avengers." I assumed from all the trailers and materials that this was going to be basically Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Knight, like that kind of Arkham City, that kind of game, just with like a companion, an AI companion or a second player, similar to some of the stuff that you played in like Arkham City, where you had Robin with you or Catwoman or something like that. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until he said that, and then at that same day, I saw the 4-player Heroic Assault, which reminded me exactly of the Marvel's Avengers, like you go into the harm rooms together and do that kind of, that's exactly what this sounded like to me. And then I started thinking, oh fuck, is this going to be Avengers? I had never considered that in my life until this news, and they're like, shit, is this going to be Avengers?
Here's the thing, Chad. This is not going to be Marvel's Avengers, because Marvel's Avengers ran at 60 frames per second.
Oh, moving on to our next one. I also don't think it's going to be that kind of game regardless. I don't think it's a loot whatever grind game. But Gotham Knights running at 30 frames a second. This is also from Adam Bankhurst. We'll get to that in a second. When Gotham Knights arrives on consoles October 21st, it will do so with no performance mode and will only run at 30 frames per second. The news was shared by Gotham Knights executive producer. This is a French name, so Alex, how do you say it?
This is Flower Marty.
All right, Marty, in the game's Discord channel.
Real talk. I don't know what the hell is going on with his nickname, Flower. Like, that is, even as somebody who knows how to speak French, that is a hard-ass name, and I don't know what is going on there.
What does that nickname mean?
I think what's going on here is Fleur, which is his actual first name.
Well, her name.
Is it sorry.
Does
My
it make a
apologies.
difference?
Her. Fleur is the French word for flower.
Yeah.
And so I think what's going on here is that people in the office are calling her Flower, but they're saying it with a French accent. So instead of saying flower, they say, "Oh, hey, Flower," which is why her nickname is Flower. That's my theory, but I honestly don't know.
You know what's funny is I was going to make a joke about this is how Ness from Earthbound would say the word flower. PK flower!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
But I guess that's
because
real.
I saw that this word flower ends in an A, and I immediately went to Spanish where words are masculine or feminine.
Flautas.
So I'm like, A, yeah, it's got to be a female nickname for flower, but I don't know French. So anyways, Marty, she went on Discord and answered people's questions about the console version of the game. I know many of you are wondering about the availability of a performance mode for Gotham Knights on console, Marty wrote. Due to the types of features we have in our game, like providing a full untethered co-op experience in our highly detailed open world, it's not as straightforward as lowering the resolution and getting a higher FPS. For this reason, our game does not have a performance/quality toggle option, number one, at 30 frames per second on console. So yes, on consoles, it's 30 frames only. I'll get it on PC so I can get 60, I suppose. This, I think, is more interesting than the 4-player or whatever thing. So here's what I'll go ahead and say about it. I think I understand why people are used to having a toggle of performance or whatever.
Right.
So I can see what people are like, well, where's my 60 frames? On my 60 frames. I think it's fine if it's running at 4K 30 and the untethered co-op is the thing that changes it for me, right? Where the fact that I can be in one part of Gotham and you can literally be in another part of Gotham inside a building doing a mission fighting Mr. Freeze, and I'm out here on the waterfront kicking Penguin's ass. Okay, whatever. I'm assuming I'm not a game designer, to be honest with you. I'm assuming that is so intensive that they're like, hey, we've got it to run at this benchmark on consoles. Let's keep it there. Also, the PS4, Xbox One versions got canceled, so I'm assuming they were trying to make a version for everyone to play, and this is what they landed on, and this is what they stuck with, even though they canceled those old versions. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. I'm playing on PC, so I get my 60 frames. It is what it is.
I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to figure out why having online co-op means you can't have 60 frames a second. Like, I understand if it's split screen and you basically have to duplicate the game running at the same time, but online, I feel like that shouldn't have the performance constraints that split screen does. But now I'm trying to think in my brain of like, are there other co-op online multiplayer things that run at 60? So I'm trying to do a Google and figure it out. But
Alex, you got anything?
No, it's a little unfortunate. To be honest, like, games only being able to run in 30 FPS, not that big of a deal breaker for me. Not something that personally upsets me in any legitimate way, but it's just it's another L for a game that really desperately needs its W's. But maybe the game will prove more quality than we're expecting it to be when it comes out. We'll see.
I think that's the thing, along with our next story, where it's like, hey, these games are about to come out. People have been like hopeful, kind of mid feeling on them, and it's like any news that's negative is like not great if you're already not like in a great position. So just like again, I don't think it's a big deal, really. If it's 4K 30, I'd play games at 4K 30 all the time. Yeah, but I feel like because of people's perception on the game, any slightly negative news seems even worse.
Yeah. I will say, like, when this news story came out, I saw a few people on Twitter being like, I gotta be honest, I can't tell the difference at all between 30 and 60 FPS. Y'all are making a mountain out of a molehill. Like, as somebody that has played many 60 FPS games over the course of the past few years on my PS5, you can tell the difference. Like,
you can tell the difference. People say
it is noticeable. But
I've heard people say they can't tell the difference between 4K and 1080. I'm like, you're literally on crack right now. I don't know.
But whether this will be a huge, like, noticeable difference on this game, ultimately, I think remains to be seen. I think that it's very likely that this will ultimately not have all that much of a discernible effect on the quality of this game, be it for good or for bad. We shall see.
Or they'll put out an update in December that lets it do 60.
That's true. They can always patch it in later.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next up.
Go ahead, Chad. Sorry, I'm just like, I'm thinking in my brain that like this needs to be 4K 30 doesn't matter. Especially didn't matter last generation. I feel like it's not a big deal this generation as long as it looks good. If it looks like a previous generation title still running at 30 frames a second, that feels to me like they didn't optimize, they didn't polish the game, like they didn't spend enough time on it. But if it looks really great and it's like, wow, this looks like something that's only capable with modern consoles and there's ray tracing and all that kind of shit, like then I can kind of get it, but we'll see.
Yeah, if you got like ray trace puddles all over the fucking place and it's staying, like, you can't complain. Like, what are you doing here? Or I guess play it on PC and get a fucking 30 or 40 series card and then play 800 frames a second in 4K. Live your life. On to our next topic, next thing that happened this week that's negative. Bayo voice actor speaks out. You guys like how I did that, by the way? Bayo voice actor speaks out.
I like it.
Voice actors, they speak.
Because she did not speak for the game, but she spoke on behalf of herself.
On behalf of herself, I like that. The only guy writing for IGN this week, Adam Bankhurst. That's who the story comes from. Because all of the 3 last stories were all written by Adam Bankhurst.
Isn't that the guy with the dirty mouth?
Shout out to Adam.
No, Ryan Dinsdale's the guy with the dirty fucking mouth.
That's the guy with the dirty fucking mouth.
That being said, Adam Bankhurst, even if you're a completely clean, not potty mouth, you should come on our podcast.
Yeah.
Clip this out and send it to him. I'm sure he's very nice.
Do it.
Not going to lie, I love George Yang. I'm a George Yang guy, but maybe you can sway me if you come on the podcast.
George Yang's never been on the podcast.
That's true.
If Adam Bankhurst comes out, he's the new number one. He's the new Santa Claus. You kill the other Santa Claus, you become Santa Claus.
That's always on the 5th Friday of December, correct?
Right, exactly. After the eternal equinox. The eternal equinox.
It never goes away. Bayonetta voice actor Helena Taylor has shared that she didn't reprise the role for Bayonetta 3 as she was offered only $4,000 to do so. Furthermore, she asked fans to boycott the game and donate to charity. Again, here's a funny thing. I didn't put it in. It might be lower in the thing. She has a very long list of things that she says. The this news story about them replacing the voice actor again, like 3 weeks before the game came out. Kind of like with Gotham Knights, they're like, "Oh, hey, here's a thing that is kind of a big deal," and they were like, "Hey, by the way, she's not in the game, but we'll go through this. This is a whole thing." Taylor took to Twitter to share a few videos of her speaking to a camera and share her side of the story following the announcement that Mass Effect's Jennifer Hale would be replacing her in Bayonetta 3. These are all quotes from Taylor now. The Bayonetta franchise made an approximate $450 million, and that's not including merchandise. As an actor, I trained for a total of 7.5 years, 3 years at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, Lambada. Never heard that word. With voice coach Barbara Berkeley, and 4.5 years with legendary Larry Moss in Los Angeles. And what did they think this was worth? What did they offer to pay me? The final offer to the whole game as a buyout flat rate was $4,000 US American money. Taylor then spoke about Hale replacing her. By the way, there's a lot more. I just took the top stuff I thought was important, but it's very long of her like, hey, they wouldn't give me money. You should boycott the game, give money to charity. She went all out. She's talking about she don't care about an NDA, breaking an NDA because she can't afford a car. It's wild. You guys should go check it out. Taylor spoke about Hale replacing her, saying while she wishes her all the best, she has no right to say she was Bayonetta. They now have a new girl voicing her, and I love actors, and I wish all the joy in the world and all the jobs, but she has no right to say she is Bayonetta. She has no right to sign merchandise as Bayonetta any more than I have the right to sign as Eva Green, even though I was her parrot in Golden Compass. Don't know that reference. Was that the movie? I don't know.
IDK.
That portrayal is hers and hers alone. They'll probably try to do a spinoff with Gene. Don't buy that either. So Kamei, how do you say his name? I always say it wrong.
It is Hideki Kamiya.
Kamiya, which is the head of Platinum Games, correct? Like the director?
Yes.
Okay. Has since responded to these allegations with a short tweet saying, "Sad and deplorable about the attitude of untruth. That's what all I can tell now. By the way, all capital, beware of my rules." He deleted his Twitter, and I think he brought his Twitter back. Because I checked his Twitter a second ago, and it wasn't there, and then you sent it to me, and he's back now.
Yeah, as of like 45 minutes ago, he is back on Twitter. Not sure what happened there. This is an incredibly upsetting story and also an incredibly confusing story on multiple different levels. It's upsetting for me personally because, I played through Bayonetta 1 and 2 when we did our Bayonetta 1 barf a couple of months ago, and I came out of that being like, hell yeah, I'm all for Bayonetta. Bayonetta 3 is looking pretty cool. Maybe I'll wait for some preview impressions of it to see how it's faring. And then all the preview impressions of it came out a week ago, and they were all like super duper glowing. Everyone's like, hey, don't sleep on Bayonetta 3. This game looks like it's real cool. And this news comes out, and it's real not cool. Being paid $4,000 to voice Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3, real awful. Just a real awful dick move on the part of whoever offered that to Helena. But what makes it all the more confusing is the fact that, of course, they brought on Jennifer Hale as her replacement, who is part of her own union and definitely, unless she specifically broke what union rules, was most likely not paid $4,000 for this role. She probably was paid something much more respectable for this, which makes you wonder what the hell is going on and what happened here.
Yeah, that confused me too. Seeing the Jennifer Hale sign on, I was like, wait a minute. Jennifer Hale sounds like she's going to be a big money person. Like, she's not going to accept $4,000 as an offer for this. So they had to have increased the pay for her, but for some reason, the person that helped establish this franchise and created the voice of Bayonetta wasn't worth whatever they're going to pay Jennifer Hale, apparently.
Yeah. It's no, you're good. I have it's weird. You had a tweet, Alex, that we'll talk about in a second, which I think is really interesting. Talking about Nintendo in general. But it's weird, especially her going back and forth with the producer or the director of the game. He's out here wilding. But yeah, it's weird that she's so undervalued, which I understand. But yeah, you had to pay Jennifer Hale more. I don't know. There's a whole thing. So there was a time when there was Borderlands 3 brought in Troy Baker's character from Tales of the Borderlands, but they didn't want to bring Troy back. And there was a whole hubbub about that and what was going on. And
there was also Claptrap in that game, too. A new voice for Claptrap in that game.
That's right. They did change the voice for Claptrap.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put it out there because it's confidential, but I know what happened with the Troy Baker stuff. I'll tell you off mic. It was pretty interesting. But
yes, please.
Yeah, video game companies, it's weird when they're like, they definitely undercut her because they thought that they could undercut her. but then they're like, we'll just pay Jennifer Hale. I don't know. It's all very
I
weird.
did-
The world of
I
voice
looked-
acting is fucking insane, is all I'll say. From what
Obviously,
I've
I don't
heard.
have any particular insight into exactly what's going on. I did a lot of research, skimmed over a lot of message boards, so a lot of Reset Era posts over the weekend because I was very obsessed with what the hell was going on with the story. A theory that I've heard that I think makes some sense is that what's going on here is a situation similar to what happened when they recast, for example, Kratos' original voice actor, which was T.C. Carson with Chris Judge, or when they recast Dave Hayter, the original voice of Solid Snake, with Kiefer Sutherland, where they wanted a different actor, somebody who would bring a kind of more richer performance to the role or would be a bigger kind of money draw. And basically what happened with Helena Taylor is that they didn't want to bring her back, but they didn't have the courage to kind of tell her that to her face. And so they offered her $4,000 with the hope that basically she would turn that down so that they could just bring in Jennifer Hale. This is just a theory, and I don't I think it makes more sense than other theories that I've read, but it still feels weird on the basis that like I can understand, again, like recasting Solid Snake as Kiefer Sutherland because Sutherland is like a big name. Jennifer Hale, obviously a beloved, voice actress behind some of the, best, most memorable characters in the entire history of the video game industry. But like, I'm not really sure that like her being attached to this game is going to like bring in that many more, sales for it, right? Another theory that I've heard is that it's possible that maybe this is sort of like a Chris Pine and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse situation, where in the most recent trailer that has been released for this game, spoiler alert, one of the original Bayonettas, the Bayonetta as she appears in the like original Bayonetta game back from 2009, dies real early on into the game. And some people were speculating, well, maybe what's going on is Helena Taylor was only going to voice this one Bayonetta for like 2 minutes. And so she was offered $4,000 because that was proportional to the amount of time that she would be in the game. But in that case, it's like, well, why not just have her also voice the other Bayonettas after the original Bayonetta dies? It's not like we need to have her be replaced with Jennifer Hale, who is, as far as I can recall, not naturally British like Helena is.
Yeah,
it's real weird.
They could just be wanting to move on from her, like you said. I think that might be it. They're just like, low baller, she'll get mad. She has to sign this NDA, so she'll never talk about it. And we'll never have to worry about this ever again. And then that didn't happen. But whatever the reason is, I
wonder if it was something contract. Like, did they have a contract with her that's like, hey, you're playing Bayonetta for two games on the TV or something like that? Oh, she re-auditioned and they recast her. Interesting.
Yep, and they went with, well, they re-auditioned. They said she did good, offered her $4,000, and she said absolutely not.
Interesting.
Which, by the way, is assuming she was the main voice actor for the entire game, would not be enough money, because that's like hundreds of hours of your life, like performing as an actor. Fucking $4,000 is nothing. Absolutely not. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But it's again, thanks for telling us 2 weeks before. Like, Jennifer Hale recorded her lines a fucking year ago. Why are we learning about this right now? But maybe we weren't supposed to. I don't know.
Look at that. What the fuck is that? By the way, beware of my rules. I didn't realize that's what you were referencing. I didn't see this tweet until just now.
That's what he tweeted before he deleted his Twitter.
Woof. What the hell does that mean?
He does not like fielding questions from people asking him things in English on Twitter. I mean, it's like one of those things where like he is partially playing it up as a joke, because in the past he's received so many questions from people that were asking like, hey, Nintendo published Bayonetta 2. Will we ever see Bayonetta on a non-Nintendo platform? And he would have to be over and over again, no, you're not going to get it on PlayStation. Nintendo published it. It's up to them, and they're not going to do it. But definitely not a good look in this situation to respond to this very, distraught, very real, issue, injustice with such a kind of flippant and just not very well conceived tweet.
It's all over the place. All right. If that's it, last story of the day, not written by Adam Bankhurst. You can still come
slacking
on podcast
off
if you'd like.
He's slacking off.
Yeah, right. I probably, if I would have looked on IGN, I probably would have had the same story from there, written by Adam Bankhurst, but I decided not to. Overwatch 2 is doing just fine, from Eddie McCooch at GameSpot. Overwatch 2 launched earlier this month. Wasn't exactly smooth, but the game has reached a massive new player milestone right out of the gate. Blizzard announced the free-to-play shooter hit 25 million players in 10 days. The studio used the mind-blown emoji to describe the player number. Yeah, if you look at their Twitter, it's just like, a lot of players. And that's the tweet. By the way, when I went to look at the tweet, it was like sensitive materials, and I had to like click like yes view.
Oh.
And it's because one of the characters got big, thick thighs. They got big, old, thick, chunky thighs. And apparently it was... Twitter algorithm thought it was too sexual for me to look at.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was like, do not look at this. If I knew the character's name, I'd tell you, but I fucking know anything about Overwatch. And a press
Vegeta.
release, Blizzard's... Yeah, that's what it was. Goku. And a press release, Blizzard said Overwatch 2 daily player base is spread near even across the Americas, EMEA, and Asia, and this is nearly triple the previous daily player peak numbers for the original Overwatch. Blizzard also added the new hero, Kiriko, has proven popular with Overwatch 2 players so far, noting that her Kitsune Rush ability was used more than 2 million times in the first week. What's more, Blizzard announced that players are getting special bonuses for their quote-unquote enduring support of Overwatch 2 and its issues since launch. Anyone who logs in from October 25th to the end of Season 1 will get the new Cursed Captain Reaper Legendary skin and a health pack weapon charm. Additionally, there will be double XP weekends on tap. So, very good numbers for them. I'll say my journey with Overwatch 2 is that John from Pixel Street wanted to play Overwatch. I said, sure, dude. Free to play. I've already got it downloaded. Let's check it out. Played 2 matches, and it kicked me out both matches. And I said, you know what, John? We'll play another time. So it didn't take too long to get in. I know I've seen the screenshots of like 40,000 players ahead of you online.
Yeah.
Mine was like 500, and it took like a minute or two, and I was in. But then, yeah, both matches, I got like 3 or 4 minutes in, and it kicked me out of the match. So
You were playing on PC, I assume, too?
No, I was playing on Xbox.
On Xbox, okay. Was John playing on it? Yeah, John was playing on Xbox.
Yeah, I think he was playing Xbox too. But yeah, it just kicked me out of both games. So
Well.
we'll see.
Yeah,
It was
I was
fun.
listening
I like the
to
idea.
the JK Games podcast, Jericho's podcast, who's been on the show several times, and Kayla. And they were talking about some of the issues trying to get in, load times, and then also migrating your account over. Because you have all your stuff that you've bought and unlocked in Overwatch 1 comes over to Overwatch 2, but apparently even like Major League Gaming... Actually, is that still a thing? Is MLG still a thing? Esports players who play Overwatch professionally are having issues getting their stuff moved over to Overwatch 2, but it's a live service game that's really, really, really popular. That's like you're going to have these hiccups at launch, but apparently when you get in, it's fun. People are loving it.
That's what I've heard. Alex, anything for you? I don't know if you like Overwatch. I don't think you do you?
Never played Overwatch before.
Yeah. Me either. That was my first time.
I
I'm
enjoy
pretty sure
I enjoy it.
Go ahead. That's it?
Yeah, I enjoy it. I will never play it with a PC player. I played it with Darby Hallman from the Nerds at Large podcast, and I was on console, he was on PC, and that game, when you crossplay, it disables all auto aim assist on your controller, and it is the worst time ever as a console player. But I played it for the console people when it was like free for a weekend years and years and years ago, and I was like, damn, I like this a lot, and I bought it, and then I literally never played it again after I bought it.
Yeah, I suspect I probably could really get into it because, as you know, I was really, really into Apex Legends not too long ago. And that game, has a very similar thing going on. If you have all these individual hero characters that kind of function pretty differently from each other, I suspect on that basis, I'd probably really jive with Overwatch's gameplay, but just too many other games going on right now. And with everything going on at Overwatch 2's launch that is as rough as it is, I feel like I'm not in any rush to go out and play it right away.
It is sequel to Game of the Year, whatever year it came out, so you gotta pay attention to it. Remember when Overwatch just won all the Game of the Year awards?
Yeah, and everyone was like, "What?
Yeah, fun
Is
stuff.
that something?" Oh, by the way, for anyone who's curious, EMEA is corporate speak for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. It's pronounced EMEA. We call it EMEA.
It means the middle of the globe. When you look at the globe, the middle part.
Right.
That's EMEA.
Mea culpa.
Sometimes you'll see it as EMEIA, which includes India.
Oh,
Whoa.
even though that's part of Asia, but
Well, Asia's APAC, Asia Pacific AC.
yeah, for sure. All right, that's it for the things. Question: who wants to go first? Do we gonna do a segment from Adam, song withstanding, or do we do game on game show with Cozy? Which one do we want to do first, boys?
Adam, you can go first.
Oh, nice.
Chad, were you about to do something like flip a coin or something?
I was gonna have my dog pick a fist, and whichever fist was it.
Let's do that still, because one of you needs to go first on this this thing that I'm doing for my segment.
Oh, okay. Right fist will be Alex, left fist will be me, and he's underneath my chair, so you're gonna have to just trust.
Yeah, I believe you.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Oh, he's biting Chad in the dick. Hold on.
Oh, he jumped on my right hand. So Alex, you go first.
Very good.
Also, save me from Adam.
This week on Segment from Adam, we're going to do a little thing. It's called, what the fuck was the technical term for it, Chad?
What? Pyramid?
For a pyramid.
Oh, isosceles. It's an isosceles
Isosceles triangle, the game. We're going to play Isosceles Triangle this week. It's a game where I'm going to give, you guys are going to play together, right?
Okay.
I'm going to give you a list of words, and you're going to have to say, so like,
jackal.
For example,
It's a jackal.
Okay, relax. For example, Easter. For example, I'll give Cozy a list of 6 words, and I'll have a time limit, and you have to, not saying the word, try to get Chad to guess what the word is. And whoever does better becomes the winner of obtuse line
Isosceles.
triangle game.
Isosceles.
Triangle game.
So it's kind of like Taboo, the game Taboo, where you have like a list of words that you can't, like, here you have to try to get me to guess this word, but you can't say this word. Yeah, okay.
It's like charades with words, but not the word that you're guessing. So who's going first? Alex was going first? What hand did he get?
Yeah.
Right hand, yep.
Alex, I am sending you a list in your chat. And what you need to do is, we're going to start from 1 to 6. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. And you're going to try to get Chad to guess as many as you can to go through your list. Understand?
Okay.
How do I... Is it Control P? How do you paste?
V.
Yeah, it's
P is print.
Control V. Okay.
Yeah, it was sent a weird list, but you understand, correct?
Yes, I do.
That's 1. The next one's 2. You play video games.
Okay, so this is just an example. If one of the things that you sent me was Charizard, the fire-type Pokemon, I could say it's the popular evolution of a starter Pokemon.
Absolutely. You could say popular fire evolution, anything that, as long as you don't say Charizard.
Card.
Okay. So I can be as elaborate and as detailed as I want, but
without
can't say
saying
the actual thing. Got
Absolutely.
It. Right.
If you do, then I have to kill you.
Oh boy.
I'm actually going to give you 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
So 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, and time starts now.
It's a video game inspired by the works of H.R. Geiger. Features all sorts of disgusting pustule and weird-ass, gross-ass stuff.
Bloodlines. Bloodborne.
No, it is not Bloodborne.
You can pass, by the way. You can skip if you want to.
Let me just... Fuck. It's very recently released. Just came out for Xbox. Receiving reviews this very day.
Scorn?
Scorn, it is correct. All right. This is a multiplayer horror video game in which you... Actually, I don't know
Predator.
if this is a multiplayer game. I'm going to pass this one. All right. This is a horror game that Hideo Kojima was working on in collaboration
Silent
with
Hills.
Guillermo del Toro.
Death Stranding. No,
It
Silent Hills.
is the original demo for this
PT.
game.
PT.
PT.
Playable
It is
teaser.
correct. All right. This is an actual multiplayer horror game. I'm actually certain of this one this time around. From the same development studio responsible for the recent Predator game and most recently Ghostbusters
Friday the
Spirits
13th.
Unleashed. Correct. This is an old-ass horror game / meme that I feel like we haven't really seen a whole lot of, but was sort of all the rage in the early 2010s. It is a very tall individual.
Slender Man.
Very... correct, it is Slender Man. And finally, this is a horror game in which you prominently use a flashlight in order to dispel the dangerous entities around you.
Blair Witch. Outlast.
Nope, it is within
Fatal
the same
Frame.
cinematic... It is within the same cinematic... No, cinematic isn't right. It's within the same video game universe as Control. It's about...
Alan Wake.
Alan Wake is correct.
All right, go back to the other one. You haven't finished yet.
It's a horror game. I don't know if it's single player or multiplayer. It is about... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Is it? What? It's from the same studio that made the original Dead Island, I want to say, back in the day. But this is like their take on that kind of idea, but like without the Dead Island name. And it's about zombies. What one could say, it's about the extinguishing of luminosity.
Ooh, your time just ran out. I don't know if you hear that.
What was it?
Dying Light.
Dying Light. Oh, okay.
See, I got to that on the list, and for whatever reason, my mind scrambled up Dying Light with Outlast or any of those like other multiplayer horror games. And if I had realized, oh, it's Dying Light, it's a game from the studio behind the original Dead Island, I would have honed in on that way sooner. But alas, I did not.
Not bad though. You got 5 out of 6. So we'll just go on. See if Chad can get more or less. He'll have the same amount of time on the clock. And again, you can pass or whatever. I did pause your time for about 4 seconds whenever we had that exchange, just to kind of caught you up for a second. So
sure.
But there you go. So you have 5 in 2.5 minutes. Chad, you have your list as well. Again, there's not numbers on them for some reason. Don't know why my copy and paste does that.
Okay.
But there you go. Also, let me be honest with you. Didn't watch very much period. I didn't watch period at all. I don't watch periods one bit. I don't watch very much pyramid, so I don't remember how interactive the host was. So I don't fucking know. Am I just doing a bunch of game shows every week? Maybe I am. Maybe we're not. But you have your list, 1 through 6. You have 2.5 minutes on the clock. Again, if you do, we're going to compare your times and everything. So starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, for this first one, Paris Hilton starred in a horror movie called...
Okay.
What was the horror movie that Paris Hilton starred in?
I don't watch a lot of horror movies, and I especially don't watch
the
movies with Paris Hilton. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's not an apartment. It's not a condo. It's a freestanding, what you might call your
cabin
home.
in the woods?
No.
Apartment?
Danny Tanner is from Full
House?
Yes. Okay, that's the first word. What's the name of the Pokemon trainer in the anime?
Ash?
What are 2 of him called?
Misty and Brock.
No. You had the right name. But if there were plural
Ketchum.
of him, if there were
Ash
plural
Ketchums?
of him, it would be
Ashes. House of Ashes.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
The next one, not big, but
small.
Another
Tiny.
word for that. Keep going.
Minuscule. Infinitesimal.
Less scientific.
Minuscule.
My blank pony.
My Little Pony.
Okay, yep.
Didn't I say little already?
No, you didn't. But
Okay.
it's not a dream if it's scary. It's a...
Little Nightmare.
Yes. Picture this. Fade up from black, 60 frames a second. It's what all the fans of all the Dark Souls games want, but Sony's not giving it to us.
Bloodborne.
Yep. Okay. This stars a guy. There's a cult following. It's a guy with a chainsaw. I don't know if it's a funny movie or a scary movie. I don't know.
The Evil Dead?
Yes. Remedy's
go.
latest game.
The remake of Alan Wake?
Not Alan
2?
Wake. Sorry.
Control?
Yes. This game, Back Blank Blood, was recently released last year, and it's a spiritual successor to...
Back Blank Blood.
Yep. It's a zombie...
Left 4 Dead.
Yes. Woo!
There we go.
I took a different
All
approach,
right.
and it did not pay off.
Boy, you got all of those with 8 seconds left, by the way.
Yeah.
8. I know you
did
guys
it.
see it on my phone. 8
Yep.
seconds, baby.
Paris
You can
Hilton
also
was in
see all
House
my
of
notifications.
Wax, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, when Chad started doing that, I was like, this is not going to go anywhere. No one remembers House of Wax. No one remembers Paris Hilton was in it. So when Chad did the things, you got all of them. When Alex did them, you got 5 out of 6. Who's the winner? Is it the person who asked the question or the person who gives the answers? Nobody knows.
It's everyone.
That's a segment from Adam this week.
Wow.
Woo! Now it's time for Game On
All
Game Show.
right.
The game on our gaming show, we play a game called Game On. The gaming show on our game show. Game. Alex, take it away, buddy.
Yes. I am here with another round of TMI with NPD. This is the Game on Game show where I go through the top 10 lists from yesteryear and ask you to guess them before I reveal what they are. On the prior two installments of TMI with NPD, we did the top 10 games of 1995 and 1996. And this week, we are going to be doing the top 10 games of 1997. If you are listening to this podcast at home, this is all per the NPD's ranking of the best-selling games of the year that we're currently going over. So you can go over to your Twitters or your internets and find the list and play along with us if you're so interested. Or you can try and guess along with us too. On the prior two installments of this game, I gave you guys indefinite guesses on what you thought the game was of the year in question. This time around, I am going to restrict it to 2 guesses per number entry, just to make things a little bit more competitive. Before we get into the game...
2 guesses per person per entry?
Yes.
Or like if I guess twice, that takes Adam's guess out of it.
No. 2 guesses per person per entry. So you still have a lot of leeway. It's not like that restrictive, but you're going to have to be just a little bit more careful in terms of how many guesses you blurt out this time around. Just give me just a quick second. I had remembered that last time we did this, I actually had a little sound effect thing set up on my stream deck so I could insert some sound effects here and there when you got guesses right or wrong. I have it set up now, so without further ado, let's head right into this.
Playing the spoon all night, baby.
To be fair, I was playing around with the cap for my camera a little bit earlier on. You can go and rewatch the stream for that. Some of that hot action.
I've been playing around with this little MagSafe stand for my phone, just opening it and closing it like a little alligator.
We are obsessive. Okay, let's start by talking about the number 10th best-selling game of 1997 in the US per the NPD group. This game is a sequel to a game that didn't show up at all on either of the previous 2 lists from 1995 or 1996. Wasn't in their top 10 spots, nor in their 11 to 20 spots. The protagonist of this game wields guns as one of their most prominent weapons, but it's not a shooter. Not a shooter in the traditional sense. It's part of the series that one of the biggest dogs in the video game industry owes a lot of its inspiration to. One of the biggest dogs, one might say. Any guesses? No?
My limited guesses is making me so nervous. Final Fantasy VIII.
No, unfortunately, it is not Final Fantasy VIII.
Damn it.
All right, last clue. It's one of the very few games on this list from 1997 that stars a female protagonist.
No, it wouldn't be that one. Metroid Fusion?
No, it is not Metroid Fusion. That game released all the way in like 2002, so you're a few years off. Each have 1 guess left.
I'm just going to burn it. Is it Super Metroid?
Nope. Super Metroid was, I want to say, 1994 or 3.
Balls.
What's
Adam?
the first one I said?
The first one was Metroid Fusion.
I don't know when the advanced or the Game Boy fucking Metroids came out is the problem.
That Fusion
it's
was
like
the Game Boy Advance
It's like
one.
the early 2000s, basically.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just want to say another Metroid, but I can't think of another Metroid game that would be in that.
I'll go over
97.
the clues again real quick. Just give you
show
one
them real
last
quick.
shooting shot. This game is a sequel to a game that didn't show up on either of their previous lists. The protagonist of the game wields gun as one of their most prominent weapons, but it's not a shooter. It's part of a series that one of the biggest dogs, Ruff, in the video game industry owes a lot of inspiration to. It's one of the very few games on this list from 1997 that stars a female protagonist.
What game do you shoot dogs?
I don't think that's what you're supposed to take away from the clue.
I don't know. Honestly, Alex? And you said it was a sequel. Resident Evil 2.
Ooh, that is not a bad guess. However, that is wrong. The answer I was looking for was Tomb Raider 2.
Oh. Naughty Dog
biggest-
being the big dog
Exactly.
with Uncharted. Got it. Okay. I was trying to think of the Naughty Dog thing. I was like, what is it? Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Resident Evil dogs. I was like, that was Resident Evil 1, but it's a sequel, so I guess
Yeah.
2.
Resident Evil 2, not a bad guess, but unfortunately not the answer in this particular case. Okay, that was a little bit of a tough start to this round. However, I think that you'll find this next one a little bit easier. Next up is the number 9th best-selling game of 1997. This game is a new entry in a series that has already popped up on this segment in the past. Its name is made up of 7 consonants and 11 characters. It's got a human man on its cover.
Madden 97. Or, excuse me, Madden... It was 1997, Madden 98.
Correct. You almost tripped over there, but you were very quick to correct yourself, so I will give you the
Okay,
point.
he
in
got
this
2
case, Adam.
guesses, so...
Well, it went to... Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
7 consonants.
It's true.
I mean, you're not wrong.
All right. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Next up is the number 8th best-selling game of 1997. This game is a first-person shooter. It's the first entry in a video game franchise that's based on a comic book series that first debuted all the way back in 1954, though most people nowadays aren't actually even aware that it was a comic book series in the first place. It is
GoldenEye?
Unfortunately, the GoldenEye is not the answer I was looking for. I'm sorry, Chad.
Poopies.
It is, to this day, one of the few AAA video game series of note to star a Native American protagonist. A Native American protagonist who's pitted against a very unlikely enemy.
Oh, fuck.
Red Dead Revolver?
No. Well, you're out of guesses.
Yeah, it is not Red Dead Revolver. Not.
And I know what it is, but... Oh, Turok.
Correct. It is the original Turok.
I totally
full
forgot
name
about that.
Turok: Dinosaur Hunter. That's one of those things where, like, I feel like nowadays most people remember the original Turok as being that game that was infamous for having its like impenetrable layer of fog 3 feet in front of you. But people forget that the reason why people even remember that is because it was such a like unexpectedly like well-selling game. So yeah, that's cool. Adam, you currently have 2 points. Chad, you have 0 points. Chad,
Son of a
I
butthole.
am hoping that you'll be able to pick up the pace a little bit here because you were the winner of the first time that we did this round. So
Yeah, all these stupid sports games. Stop it with your spoon. I'm so angry at it.
all right. Next up is the number 7th best-selling game of 1997. This game prominently features character models that have often been compared, perhaps uncharitably so, to pipe cleaners. It is an environmental game about the importance of caring for our natural planet. It's incredibly appropriate that this game landed on this particular spot on the NPD list. And if you don't get,
Is this Final
get
Fantasy
it after
VII?
this, it is Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Chad, you're
The
finally
pipe
making your
cleaners
comeback.
threw me. I was like, what?
cleaners.
We talking about trash from the spork from Final Fantasy IV? I mean, from Toy Story 4?
So if you're one of those kids listening to this podcast that has never before seen the original version of Final Fantasy VII, you go back and you look at the character models in that game for when Cloud and company are out of combat, when they're just exploring the game's environments. Their arms are like super comical in terms of their proportions because they have like super huge like shoulders, super huge arms, but then like super skinny, like pipe cleaner-esque arms, which is why people often compare them to that. All right, let's keep this rolling. Let's talk about the number 6 best-selling game of 1997. This game is a licensed game, and a pretty big one for the time in which it was released. This game stars a charismatic villain that shares the same name as one of Scyther's evolutions, although it's spelt a little bit differently. So, I hope you guys know your Scyther evolutions.
I know my Scyther evolution.
There's 2 Scyther evolutions now due to the recent Pokemon Legends Arceus game. We're only talking about the original one, not the new one.
Okay.
Adam, I hope you're paying attention to
No, I
the
remember it was
Sector
cool because he was a
Evolutions.
steel type, but I don't remember his name.
Well, I know his name, but I have no idea who the fucking villain is that you're talking about.
Couple more clues. Its protagonist is a swashbuckling hero that basically was created as a replacement for another character that basically everybody in the world knows and loves, but couldn't participate in this game's story because he was frozen at this period in time. And, of course, I would be remiss not to mention that this game takes place in a galaxy far,
Super Star Wars?
far. Unfortunately, it is not Super Star Wars. That was an SNES game, and we are far past the SNES at this point in time. But yes, it is in a galaxy far, far away.
Fuck. Shadows of the Empire?
It is Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Who the fuck is
Katarn,
Scissor
baby.
in that?
So, for context, I believe it is pronounced Caesar. The name of the villain is Prince Caesar.
Oh, okay.
He's a alien race that is able to exude pheromones that make him super attractive to all sorts of other characters, including Princess Leia. The protagonist of the game is Dash Rendar, who
Rendar,
basically
not
is Han Solo, but not Han Solo, because they're like, we can't use Han Solo right now because the game takes place between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi when Han Solo is frozen in carbonite. So let's just make a Han Solo to take his place. And yeah, it was, of course, one of the bigger licensed games at the time of its release, but I feel like it is not... It's definitely one of those games that I feel like has not kind of stood the time super well. I think a lot of people kind of look back on it as like an interesting cross-media experiment that didn't really leave as much of a lasting mark as perhaps they thought it would. Anyways, let's talk about the number 5 best-selling game of 1997. This game is a Nintendo 64 exclusive that has never appeared on the Wii Virtual Console, the Wii U Virtual Console, or Nintendo Switch Online. However, despite this, it did receive a remake for the Nintendo DS in 2007. It is the debut game of beloved character Drumstick the Rooster. So, you're picking this game
Diddy
up
Kong
from the
Racing.
store. Yep, it is
Oh,
Diddy
fuck.
Kong Racing.
God, I loved that game. I forgot Drumstick was in it completely.
Remember that fucking rooster? Flying around.
Fucking rooster.
All right,
You had the
Chad,
crocodile, you had Banjo, you had Conker.
Yeah.
Forgot about the rooster.
Chad, you can still overtake Adam, but it's going to be
I gotta get the rest of them, yeah.
quite the sprint. Yeah, it's going to be quite the sprint. Alrighty, let's talk about the number 4 best-selling game of 1997. This game is a video game that takes place partially within the country of Cuba. Its box art is also partially in black and white.
Goldeneye.
Yep, it is GoldenEye.
Fuck you, Adam. Take that spoon out of here.
Put it right back in here.
All right, Adam has 4 points. Chad has 2 points. Let's see if Chad can close the gap even more. Let's talk about the number 3 best-selling game of 1997. This game is, in fact, a remake of an older game, although it's not really often acknowledged as being a remake. The larger franchise that this game is a part of was greatly inspired by torii gates, which are traditional Japanese gates most commonly found at the entrance of or within Shinto shrines. Many of the characters in this game were, in fact, later indirectly referenced via some of the masks that you can collect in The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Do you have something that you want to say, Chad?
No, I just was holding back a sneeze.
Okay. And final clue, in PAL regions, this game actually had a different name than what it had in the rest of the world. In PAL regions, this game was referred to as blank wars. So something wars.
NHL 98.
Nope. I'm afraid that is incorrect. I'll go ahead and I'll give you one more clue.
Okay.
I know, Chad, that you really want me to give you that one final point so that I can make you a little bit more competitive with Adam here. But I'm afraid I just can't let you do that, Chad.
Is that the clue?
Yes.
Now I'm so confused.
Metal Gear Solid.
No, it is not Metal Gear Solid. I like your line of thinking because that last little bit of dialogue I said a moment ago is sort of like the kind of dialogue that they would say within a Metal Gear Solid game.
Sounds like Psycho Mantis shit if I ever heard it.
It is very.
Can you repeat the clues?
Much like it is a remake of an older game, although it's not really acknowledged as such. It is part of a larger franchise that was greatly inspired by torii gates, which are the traditional Japanese gates that are most commonly found at the entrance of or within Shinto shrines. So you could imagine this game as being made perhaps in a location that is very close to Shinto shrines, perhaps in a location like Kyoto, for example. Many of the characters of this game were later referenced indirectly via some of the masks that you can collect in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. So think about the kind of masks that you're collecting in that game and what perhaps some of those masks might resemble. In PAL regions, this game was referred to by a completely different name, which was Blank Wars. And finally, my last clue, I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Chad.
What is Mailman the video game? That's the only mask I can think of from Majora's Mask right now.
Adam, do you want me to...
No guess, bro. None at all.
All right, I'll add a little bit of extra detail to one of my prior clues. The full name of this game in PAL regions was Lilat Wars.
Star Fox 64?
It's Star Fox 64.
What?
The Lilac system! The Lilac system!
That was your third guess, though, so it doesn't count for you.
No, it wasn't. That was my second.
Nuh-uh.
Chad, I'm sorry, but that was his second guess.
Wait, what was
got 5
It
points
was Metal
now.
Gear Solid, and then you
I said
guessed
Metal Gear Solid in that shit?
No, you said Pokemon or something.
I was
Son of a
thinking
bitch.
Pokemon.
Okay.
So, yeah, real quick. This game, Star Fox 64, is technically a remake of Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. Much like how earlier on we recorded our Castlevania barf in Castlevania 4, technically a remake of Castlevania 1. As I said, it's inspired by Japanese torii gates. The idea is that within those early Star Fox games, you're often flying your R-Wing through gates, and that was very much inspired by the traditional Shinto gates I described. And in Majora's Mask, like, when you kind of like collect all the masks in that game, there are like 2 rows of masks that are like one-to-one a direct reference to all the characters in Star Fox 64. There's like a fox mask, a bird mask, a frog mask, a pig mask, a monkey mask. Like, it's like, oh wow, this is just the characters of Star Fox 64. But I guess that went a little bit too over your head, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm
good.
certainly not sorry that Adam scored that point.
You can be sorry about it as long as we get an asterisk on Adam's win because of it.
I was still going to
Damn
beat
it.
you regardless.
All right. Good news is that I think that you guys will find these final 2 numbers a little bit easy to guess. Next up is our penultimate game, the number 2 best-selling game of 1997. It's a game that follows the exploits of 2 individuals on an adventure, although one of these 2 individuals is doing most of the action in the game.
Pokemon Red and Blue.
Unfortunately, it is not Pokemon Red and Blue. Technically, those games did release in 1997, but it would be another year before they came over to North America. So
okay. Got it
close,
confused.
but no cigar. Despite being an adventure, however, the entirety of the game actually takes place within a relatively contained location. It is also a returning contender from the best-selling games of 1996 list, which I hope that you guys are not looking up right now and are relying on your prior memories to bring to mind. And finally, it is another game on this list, much like Diddy Kong Racing, that would go on to receive a DS remake quite a few years later. It's a game about two individuals on an adventure.
Yoshi's Island.
Nope, it is not Yoshi's Island. Chad, you have an opportunity here.
You got it.
Read the clues for me again.
It's a game about two individuals on an adventure, although one of those individuals is the only one actually doing anything. The entirety of the game takes place within a relatively contained location. It's a returning contender from the best-selling games of 1996 list, so it's a game that you have guessed before. And it is another game, much like Diddy Kong Racing, that would go on to receive a remake on the DS years later.
When you say returning contender, do you mean that like it has been on the same game was on both lists?
Yeah, this game was also on the 1996 list.
Okay. Fuck.
You can pass. You lost anyways.
This is not Donkey Kong Country 3, right?
Is that your guess?
That was my guess, but no. I have no idea.
I know what it is. I just ran out of guesses.
I'll give you one more clue, Chad.
Okay, yeah, please.
Hold on, I need to do this with as straight a face as possible.
This is
but
gonna be good.
It's real hard. Yeah.
I was gonna also do the same thing.
See, that's what the cry like. That makes me think Yoshi's Island. Son of a bitch. Who cries? I have no idea. I'm going to say also Yoshi's Island, even though you said that was wrong.
No, I don't know what it is, but it's a game with Baby Mario, but I don't know the name of the game.
Yeah, that's Yoshi's Island, right? When you play, that's Yoshi's
so tell us in a
Story,
second.
isn't
is
it? No,
not,
what is it?
It's not Yoshi's Island or Yoshi's Story. Oh my god. All right, one more. I'm going to give another clue because
Chad already guessed.
Going.
Chad guessed two.
No,
I did guess two, but I
I'll
want
say
to hear
that he
another
only
clue.
did one guess.
Okay.
This game stars a rabbit, which you must catch at one point.
What?
Come on, Chad.
Super Mario 64? I have no fucking clue.
It is Super Mario 64.
It is?
Yes.
Who's the other person? The Lakitu.
Yes.
Oh, that threw me like crazy. Oh my god. Okay.
And it takes place within a relatively contained location, which is Peach's Castle. It's a returning contender from the best-selling games of 1996 list. It was the #1 best-selling game of that list, and it would go on to receive a DS remake years later as Super Mario 64 DS. And the that was the baby penguin that you toss over the cliff in agony.
All right.
And of course, the rabbit you catch inside that like underground labyrinthian part of the castle. All right. And finally, we have the #1 best-selling game of 1997 in the United States per the NPD group. This game is the first game in its series to employ 3D graphics. It stars multiple monarchs, commoners, and animals. It's a video game that belongs to a genre that has already been represented once before on the list from 1997. And it features a much maligned shell.
Mario Kart 64.
It is Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
There you go.
I am so glad that you got that immediately. And that is the top 10 best-selling games of 1997 per the NPD's list. Some of the highlights from the 11 to 20 spot include Cruisin' USA and Wave Race 64.
Cruising! Cruising!
NBA Hang Time, and a whole lot of other sports games. Wow. Riven, the sequel to Myst. The original Tomb Raider, which did not show up on either of the prior NPD lists. And Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh. Interesting.
And that is TMI with NPD.
Thank you so much, Cozy, for that Game on Game Show. That's it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for our podcast tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You have a job to do. I swear to God, that fucking spoon makes me so angry.
I don't know why. It's just
because I lost, and you're just over there smoking your plastic spoon. Patreon.com/respawnnameFire is your homework, where you can go to vote on barf games for the month. And we mentioned this during our barf stream earlier. I think we're going to stick with our traditional November/December thing, where we will ask you what game you want us to play in consideration for Game of the Year that we haven't played already, and we will make sure we prioritize getting that one done before the end of the year. So go over to patreon.com/respawnnameFire to vote for that later on this month. We are also going to introduce a new thing where we will do kind of like just a fun AMA, Ask Me Anything, for those of you who are uninitiated. Like an AMA of like whatever the hell you want to ask us, and patrons are the only people who can pose questions to us. And Adam and I don't know whether this individually or both on the stream together, whatever it is, but like we'll answer whatever questions you want and tell fun stories, and that's it. So again, patreon.com/respawnnameFire is the place where you can go and be part of that, as well as getting dope wallpapers, including Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jr., which need to be replaced soon. So I will prioritize making sure we get new wallpapers.
Hey, Chad, you should do a Halloween one based on the movie Halloween.
Oh.
Just like take the poster and do something with it. Put an 8 on it for Dale Earnhardt.
Take his eyes and turn it into a sideways 8. Yep. And then when you unlock your phone, the 8 rotates and it says, Michael Myers dead? ?
Yeah.
Normally we would tell you that this month's barf is Super Castlevania 4, but it still is. But we already recorded our episode about it and talked about it. So go check that out over on youtube.com and on podcast services, et cetera, and that's it. Alex, thanks again for coming in and making my job really easy. I didn't have to host today. I didn't have to have a game today. And I sat back down and absorbed this podcast as a participant, and it was wonderful. So thank you, Alex, for being on the show as a RAF regular. And for people on this podcast, as opposed to our BARF podcast, where can they find you? What are you doing?
You can find me over on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive. I'm streaming all sorts of fun Pokemon Platinum Nuzlocke adventures there. You can find me also over on Twitter at AlexKazina, AlexKazina. If you want to see me share my opinions on whatever new fast food I'm eating on the day of, or just general gaming thoughts and opinions.
Perfect. Adam, just so you know, I just turned off your video.
Oh no!
You smoked your spoon too much. It made me so mad that I just turned off your video.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. I get it.
All right, you're back, but you're on probation. Damn it! Get out. All right, thank you everyone so much for listening. Until next time, here's our usual sign off. Today in a bark box, we got a ghost dog toy, and he's drinking a beer. His name on the tag is Sheet Faced.